Okay, guys, welcome back to the podcast. And today we have a very special guest. We have the KOPW champion of the world, Big Sam. Big Sam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very much for having me, Bobo, on this show.
Absolutely no worries. I see you've got your belt with you there.
Yep. King of Pro Wrestling belt. I won it last month on my birthday of all the days.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the podcast. And today we have a very special guest. We have the KOPW champion of the world, Big Sam. Big Sam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very much for having me, Bobo, on this show.
Absolutely no worries. I see you've got your belt with you there.
Yep. King of Pro Wrestling belt. I won it last month on my birthday of all the days.
Oh, really? Not a bad birthday present then?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one day when we can finally travel and actually see each other again, you can be competing for this bad boy.
Yep, that can add down to the other shoulder, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be awesome.
I could bring Marie to carry it as well.
Yeah.
Extra hands.
Nice. Actually, we'll get on to Marie and the stable a little bit later. I can see you've already got your stable merch on. Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
There you go. Actually, we'll just start with that. Where did the knuckle duster thing, where did that logo come from?
Great question. I'd like to know myself. Basically, when this group came about, we were at a party. And it's the first time I met Uncle Money. And I had a real chat with Alan, Chairman Al. And me and Ash Silver have known each other for a while.
Right.
And I jokingly said, we should start our own group, like our own stable. And we could be like angry at everybody, like a trade union. You know, thinking down that way. You know, we think we're the hardest workers and everything's been stolen from us. Because we've got supporters. And I said, we can carry on with those having that support, but we could be like really angry trade unions going for management. Yeah. And everything just fell into place. And I mean, the name, the stable, it's like, what should we call ourselves? And I had this vision of, I remember the Rockers. You remember Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty?
Yeah, of course.
Well, they were known as the Midnight Rockers.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels said when they went to WWF, they told them their name. And I think Vince McMahon went, nah, just get rid of the Midnight and just call yourself the Rockers. So as a mick take, I said, something stable. I said, nah, we'll just call ourselves the Stable.
And that was it, and then it stuck.
And everyone, when we meet these wrestlers from America who come over and that, and they said, yeah, when I read about you guys, the Stable, I thought, wow, what a very generic name. But it grows on you. They really said it grows on you. The Knuckle Dusters, Ash basically got Photoshop and got a little bit crazy and decided to make a pair of Knuckle Dusters. So basically, this was all Ash's idea, if I remember rightly.
That's awesome. I love it. I've actually got one of the Stable shirts from... was it an HKWF show or Ash? I don't know if I got it from Ash or something, but yeah, I love them. I think it's sick. It's literally because people remember it straight away, the Stable, and you're like, oh, which stable? No, the Stable.
Yeah, that's exactly what we went for. Like, it's not any stable, it's the Stable.
Yeah, I love it, and it definitely works, and it's caught on as well, right? You guys have been
it's surprisingly caught on better than I thought. Oh God, 2017 September is when the idea was floated, and that's when we agreed on it. WWE had competed in Shenzhen.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was the night before we had some of the wrestling fans did like a host party or something. I think Ho-Ho was there as well. Okay. A bunch of Hong Kong WF guys were there as well.
Sweet, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it was the first time I met Uncle Money and that, and it came about because we're all Guangdong, Shenzhen based.
Right. That's awesome. I love it.
And because we're all a bunch of foreigners as well, we thought.
It definitely works.
Yeah.
It definitely works, especially in Asia. I think, it's unreal because you and Trey are absolutely massive compared to some of the little guys that you toss around the rings.
Don't be surprised. Ash has got size.
Yeah, he does actually. But when he's standing next to you two.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, but a lot of people get surprised when they do actually see Ash. They see him as a really small guy because he's been in the ring with me. But then when they see him in size, like, oh, Ash has got size to him. You know, he's got a bit of bulk. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I can see him over the last couple of years as well. His arms are getting wider and wider.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not afraid of the gym. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. With his movie star looks, all his profile pictures, he's with his slick back hair. Hey guys, I can't do that anymore. Mine's gone.
I've shaved mine off in this heat. Anytime I
Yeah.
have wrestling shows now, I put the clippers to me. You know, put the
Oh,
clippers
yeah?
up me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking even this beard, it's only a couple of inches now and it's far too hot. I just start sweating through and it's horrible. But all right, well, let's get into it. Let's go back from well before the stable. What got you into wrestling, basically? How did you, not as a wrestler, what got you into it as a fan?
You mean when I first fell in love with the sport?
Yeah.
My friend, when I was, God, 1992, born in 1985, so I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yep. So WrestleMania at that time, WrestleMania 8, it would have been.
Yeah.
And it was between Royal Rumble 92 and WrestleMania 8, that period. My friend was into pro wrestling. Went round to his house and was sitting in his bedroom, and he's trying to introduce me to pro wrestling. I'm learning as I go along. His dad comes in and starts doing, oh yeah, Macho Man impressions and stuff. And, you know, I've never seen the Macho Man or anything like that.
Yeah, just think he's a bit weird.
Oh, no, I knew they were playing on and stuff like that. So we put it on the television. And at the time, me and him were like the lucky boys. We had satellite TV. So
Oh, nice.
we could get into...
Big dogs, yeah.
Yeah, we were the big dogs, yeah. So put on, I think it was Sky Sports, Sky One, whatever channel it was on. And he had WWF on there. Now, he was a Hulkamaniac.
Right.
But Hulk Hogan wasn't on weekly, on Superstars or anything.
Yeah.
But there was one guy who was on there, big 6'7", 6'8", 9", or whatever it was, big blonde-haired guy, coming out doing the power bomb, and he was being built up to destroy Hulk Hogan, and that was Sid.
Nice.
And to me, I said, "You got Hogan," and I said, "This is my guy." He came out and he used to beat the crap, military press, power bomb, basically every move I copy now. And he used to put him on the stretcher, run him into the ring. And I
Sid,
said,
was he Psycho Sid then, or Sid
no,
Vicious?
no, it was Sid Justice.
Sid Justice, that's right.
Yes, because this was before he left. When he
With
came
his
back,
body
he was Psycho
glove,
Sid.
elbow pad.
Yep, he used to come out with the elbow. I used to wear that when I first began as well, the one
Did
elbow
you?
pad. Yeah,
That's
I was.
amazing.
I could give you some stories about me and Ash love the new generation wrestling, even though it gets a bad rap.
Yeah, mate, me too. I watch all
But
that shit.
we love the Click. We like Shawn Michaels, Once a Free Kid, Razor Ramon Diesel. We also love Bulldog, Bret Hart, the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
They were our guys. And when Sid decided, well, between softball and WCW, turn up in WWF, I was a Sid fan. Yeah. Yeah,
That's awesome.
So
then
Sid was when I fell in. Sid was my main introduction to wrestling, and then we watched WrestleMania. I remember being round in the house, and the main event happened. Papa Shango missed his cue, come to the ring.
Yeah.
I didn't. I totally didn't realize it. I remember my mate's mum saying, "Oh, you know, this is wrong. 2-on-1, 2-on-1." Then Ultimate Warrior comes down for the save. And I thought, oh, never saw Sid ever again. You know, obviously we didn't have the internet or knew anything what was happening.
Yeah.
Sid just never turned up on TV. So my first favorite wrestler became Papa Shango.
That's
So Papa
amazing.
Shango was my first favorite wrestler then, because he came into the main event and helped Sid.
Papa Shango, man, he's been through some crazy gimmicks in his life, hasn't he?
Yeah, Papa Shango, Kama, Mustafa.
Kama Mustafa, the fighting machine, and
Well,
then
that's what Kama stood for, kick any man's ass. That's why he gave himself that name.
are you serious?
Yeah, he admitted to it on a podcast when he was asked why did he call himself Kama, and he said, "Yeah, I know, just an abbreviation of kick any man's ass, basically."
You've just blown my fucking mind. I did not know that.
Yeah, I listened to quite a few wrestling podcasts several years
That's
ago.
epic, in fact. Especially knowing the guy as well, Charles Wright. Like when he was the Godfather, I was watching a YouTube video about like the history of Right to Censor, and he was absolutely raging that they'd made him the good father, and he was just against everything that he ever stood for. Like he basically is the Godfather in real life. Owns the Cheetah strip club, like roll a fatty for this pimp daddy. Like he lived his gimmick hardcore. So for him to go from that to Right to Censor must have been insane.
Yeah, I mean, go on, sorry.
Cool. No, that's fine. And then I was just gonna say, so after that, 92. So then you had what, SummerSlam with Bulldog beating Brett.
And which was in the United Kingdom. So
Yeah.
Because I started telling my parents I like wrestling, I took over the television.
Yeah.
So Sky One Friday nights and all that had Mania, and I used to watch the Superstars, All American Wrestling, Wrestling Challenge. And so I started learning all the guys, learning their moves and all this, learned about jobbers and, well, weaklings, I used to call them.
Yeah.
And And you'd have the British Bulldog then started appearing in newspapers.
Yeah, yeah. He became
Because
a
of the
real
build-up.
big
He
deal,
was,
didn't
I remember he was on the advert for Burger King, The Sun.
he? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So, yeah,
awesome.
and then you said SummerSlam 92. And then by about the summertime of 92, I knew wrestling in regards of what time it was on. I know the wrestlers. I knew who were faces and heel. I started working and understanding more about it pretty quick and very early on.
That's awesome. So then, when did you decide that you were gonna actually try it out and go? When did you start wrestling in the UK?
Right. I used to be a freestyle wrestler, amateur wrestler. This was my introduction into pro wrestling. So I used to wrestle
Okay.
for
Or
North
like at
Wales.
school and stuff.
No, I was more representing North Wales region.
Okay, I was gonna say because in the UK we didn't really
Just to
have.
let everybody know, I was born in Chester, England, on the border, so I'm English. So the Welsh can still boo me,
Yeah.
and I still can support a better football club. But in
Yeah,
Wales,
there you go. That's the main
yeah,
thing.
when the World Cup comes around, it's a lot easier to support England. It's better to get disappointed in the semi-finals.
At least you make it.
Yeah. So I wrestled a lot in the North Wales region, and then I travelled with it. Just amateur wrestling for 75 kg upwards, 80 kg, because I was in my 13, 14 upwards.
Because that you don't hear it like in the US. You hear about all these wrestlers.
I know,
Oh
in
yeah,
school
amateur
and
freestyle
stuff, yeah.
wrestling. In the UK, you don't hear anything about that.
Well, yeah, mostly I found it's mostly in areas that have a big Indian population as well. So you got Slough in London, where they have big tournaments, and up in Aspel in the Manchester area.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's mostly dominated by the British Indian population. And when I was doing tournaments, there were people from all over the world there. I mean, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and all these other Stan countries are there.
Yeah.
I mean, because the former Soviet Union really pushed amateur wrestling as well.
Yeah, that was one of their main Olympic sports as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I got to learn a little bit of geography while I was doing my wrestling. I wrestled up in Ireland as well. I traveled about a little bit with it. Now, my transition to pro wrestling, I've always wanted to do pro wrestling.
Right.
I mean, even in amateur wrestling, I was going for the powerbomb and sidewalk slams in matches.
Was that?
People locking up and doing like
were
belly
you as big as you are now?
No, I was pretty lanky.
Really? Okay.
I was pretty lanky growing up. But when I got into amateur wrestling, I started learning about training. I became more of a gym rat, you'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started amateur wrestling, it was all about push-ups, sit-ups, and squats and all types of stuff. Then started moving into the gym, started going on heavier weights and slowly bulking up, changing my diet as well. You know, it motivated me to put on this bit of mass.
Yeah. And then you became Big Sam. You went from just Sam to
Big Sam took a while, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. So,
well, did you have a gimmick or a name before you became Big Sam?
Oh, God, here we go. Right.
Yes.
This is I got when my classmates found out about this back in high school. First time I tried amateur wrestling, I went to one training session in Hammerlock in Yorkshire.
Okay, yeah. Hammerlock wrestling.
Yeah, my mum's side of the family from Yorkshire.
Right.
So it would be like a day out for the family. They would drop me off at training. They'll go and see the family.
Nice.
So I did a couple of sessions with them. Now every session, if I remember, was like 3 to 4 hours. And
shit,
go
okay.
for it. Yeah. But, I mean, the first class there were like 40 odd people.
40 in what? In one wrestling class?
Yeah.
Shit. How many of them were there a couple of weeks later?
Well, that's about to say. It soon dropped down, cut numbers, as it usually does. Yeah. They're usually all right doing lockups and that. It's when they take their first bump. And then it's like, I prefer watching this on the sofa. You know? Yeah. And then, well, it wasn't feasible to keep traveling to Yorkshire all the time. And I mean, my parents didn't want to always go up there. Both my dad didn't anyway. Let's put it that way. As I said, it was my mum's side of the family. And then I found wrestling up in North Wales, but this on my timescale, it must have been about a year or two later because I finished school and got my driving license.
Okay.
So yeah, back in Hammerlock, I created this character and it was called Sam Sensation. And I love it. Yeah, but I was going to play on my amateur wrestling background.
Right.
Because I could do a lot of the throws because I just adapted from the amateur wrestling.
Yeah.
belly to belly suplexes, overhead suplexes. I could just had to learn how to make them safer for the opponent. But most of my other, but most of the locking up and stuff was almost natural. You just had to switch from right to left. That was basically it.
Okay. So Sam Sensation, what did Sam Sensational? What was your gear like as Sam Sensation? Did you ever go through the I need to have long blonde hair and tiny trunk?
No, because I visioned I was going to be a heel. I thought I've always wanted to heel. I've always loved the heels in wrestling. The heels. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, even when I look back, $1 Million Man, Ravishing Rick Rude, I thought, man, they're the guys I like.
Yeah.
And then a Sid, of course, I thought, man, he was badass. So my first outfit wrestling, because I didn't know where to get wrestling outfits made or anything like that, was basically my amateur wrestling outfit.
No, the full singlet.
Full singlet.
Oh, that's amazing.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. Some of my friends who supported me when I was doing wrestling, like, singlet makes you look smaller. That's what a lot of them told me.
Really?
From my size, they said the singlet makes you look smaller. Because I got a long body and the singlet, like...
Yeah, like elongates you almost.
And it also makes me look leaner. And it says in this sport, especially when I was at the time 105 kg, so 230 pounds-ish.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm 6'4", 6'5", on that borderline. And very young babyface. So they decided when I started I'd be a babyface. Which wasn't the direction I go, but I was told, they said, back then I was a fairly good looking kid. You know, very babyface, a bit longer blonder hair. You know, now with this bit of stubble growing here and a shaved head, not as pretty as I once was. So, yeah, well, anyway, going back, 2015, just don't quote me on that. There's a famous Welsh wrestler called Ulrich Williams who lived in Rhyl.
Yeah.
And I rang him up and I said...
Trained a lot of guys, actually.
Rang him up and I said, can I come training? And big Welshman on the phone, and he said to me, how tall are you? And I told him my height, and he says, are you like a chopstick? That's what he said. I said, I'm filling out. And he says, come down, I'll take a look at you. Now, Voodoo Greg takes the mick out of me because Ulrich's old school training. And that was like kind of the way I got into it. I mean, there was no, you did really well. Maybe you do this. It was like, not good. Do it again. Do it again. It wasn't next. Just do it again. The only time you knew you did good is when they did say next.
Yeah.
It's like, did I do good? And they'd be like, well, I wouldn't have said next. Because I mean,
if you hadn't done it properly.
The ring we trained in was a boxing ring. No giving it. I tell you what, I did because I'd done a few bumps on mats before, so I was pretty confident. But when I went that ring, bam! I felt my kidneys move. You know.
Really? Because had a few. You've sent me a few videos of you. You've had matches in boxing rings in the last few years as well, haven't you?
No, not in China. China, a lot of the rings are made.
What is? Oh, really?
Yeah. This one. The only. Oh, maybe. Sorry, you might have been on about the one in Thailand, which was a kickboxing ring. That
may be it.
Yeah, that again. I remember I got double suplexed in that, and again I felt like my stomach had moved. But no, I trained for a bit with Ulrich, and again he was later stages in his age, and training wasn't consistent. I mean, I rang up before going to Rhyl because I went a couple of times. It was about an hour's drive, and sometimes they'd be just like, "No, it's not happening," you know. And I was hanging around in the rain.
Oh shit! Okay.
So luckily I found a guy who trained with Ulrich Williams called Mike Roberts, who wrestled in a company. Well, he still does, called Basic Wrestling, BASIX.
Okay.
So again, I'm having bumps between each of these promotions, from Hammerlock to Ulrich's wrestling promotion to Basic. So I was taking just a little bit with me, but very rusty as I went along.
Right.
And then Basic, they kind of cleaned me up, polished me up a bit, and it was regular. And then I could get into a ring. I could get into a ring, and then I started getting my first performance was actually in the village when my dad was the local policeman.
No way! That's amazing.
Yeah. So when I came out, quite a few people knew me. Hey, that's the Coppers lad, you know.
What did your dad think of you becoming a pro wrestler? Were your parents supportive of the idea?
This was my dark, dirty secret. They never knew.
Oh, really?
They knew I'm an amateur wrestler, So they thought I was doing amateur wrestling because that was my background.
Right.
So
Okay.
when I used to drive to North Wales to Flintshire, near the Wrexham area, they they thought, oh, he's just going to do amateur wrestling, but no, I was spending a couple of hours pro wrestling, doing sunset flips and all sorts of stuff.
That's awesome. Sunset flip. You can do it. I'd love to see that.
Oh, everybody had to do it regardless of everyone was told to try it at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Remember, I've had like 5 surgeries now, and I'm 125 kg, so 275 pounds. So yeah, I'm not as light as on my feet and agile as I once was. But when I came from an amateur wrestling background, I was pretty wiry.
So when you were training and stuff in the UK, were you getting booked around there, or
no?
Did you have any matches in the UK before?
Yeah, I had matches in the UK, but just with basic wrestling. I wasn't going anywhere else.
Right. Okay. So literally,
again, I wasn't even prepared to go anywhere else in regards of. I had a sight set on China, and I don't think I was ready. I would have been exposed too much. My saving grace has been my size, so I don't have to work as hard. I don't have to work as hard.
Yeah. Sorry. Did you move to China because of wrestling?
No. It took me a few years to find Ho-Ho. And it was me moving down to when I moved to Shenzhen. When I originally came to China, I was in Hangzhou near Shanghai.
So what made you move to China? Was that just work?
I was doing no. I was an exchange student on doing a postgrad.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. Yeah,
doing international trade and marketing and Chinese language.
Oh, cool. That's really awesome. And then what? And
then after that, I went to work and I stayed in China because at the time Britain was going through economic crisis.
Yeah.
And I spoke to friends back home, and some of them had been laid off and things weren't looking too promising. And I was getting offered jobs in China. So I stayed here and I thought, I'll stay a couple of years, and that stays longer and longer.
Yeah.
And so I moved to Shenzhen and I went to a comedy show. And I was with my ex-girlfriend, went to a comedy show and was sitting in the front, and the comedian, an Indian guy lived in Hong Kong, if I remember rightly. And he's going through the people, he's like, oh, how are you doing? Blah, 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 taking, oh, look at this girl. Oh, she's really dressed herself up, blah, blah, blah. He came to me and he goes, whoa, Hulk Hogan's in the crowd,
no way.
And so I thought, oh, he must know a bit of pro wrestling. And so after the show, I got talking to him and I said, oh, you made the Hulk Hogan reference. I said, I like the pro wrestling. He goes, yeah, I sometimes help some of the wrestlers in Hong Kong when I announce for their show. And then I was like, who do you know? He says, and he's like, yeah, I'm friends with this guy, Ho-Ho Lun.
Yeah.
And he gave me Ho-Ho Lun's contact. Now, I spoke to Ho-Ho Lun. I'm in Shenzhen, Ho-Ho's in Hong Kong. So I still had to cross the border when I did a few training sessions with him. And I said, this is, because he trained on a Saturday night.
Yeah, in a badminton court or whatever.
You got it, yeah. And I'm like asking him, is there something a bit closer for me with a ring and not on a Saturday night when I like to go out? And he's like,
yeah, the opposite of when you want to be wrestling.
yeah. And he introduced me to a wrestler called The Slam, who I believe trained Ho-Ho Lun up. And now he lives in Dongguan.
Yeah.
And he has a ring, and Slam's like, I spoke to Slam in Chinese because he doesn't know English. And he thought I was a Chinese guy pretending to be a foreign wrestler. When I spoke to him, yeah. And
well, mate, that gives you mad kudos on your Mandarin accent then.
Well, actually, no, it was typing. We were typing to each other, weren't speaking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, when we finally did meet, he was a bit surprised. And he said he got me straight into his training. He had a ring, and he's like, you can have training here as many times as you want, because it was in a gym. And China's, I don't know, it just seems a bit more flexible in things like that. A gym says, oh, you can have a ring, just come in whenever you want.
Yeah,
I walked in. Nobody
have the same story is amazing.
To me. Nobody said any. I could just walk into the gym. People have to pay in the gym. I just walked straight through, used all their weight equipment, everything, and then I'd use their ring. It was good times actually.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to get this. I never heard of the Slam, but literally now,
wow,
2 weeks in a row.
Get on YouTube.
Because Ho-Ho literally told me almost the same story. He couldn't get training. He was getting DVDs and stuff, and then he decided, he found a guy in China, and it was the Slam.
The Slam man, yeah, and he trained in Korea, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome that it's all so intertwined.
He was wrestling 2 nights ago in the same show that I was in. He was in a hardcore.
The Slam was.
Yep.
That's awesome. Because what's crazy is also, even for me, I mean, I'm not a wrestler, but even as a almost promoter, fuck COVID, But the reason I know all of you guys and everything to do with my Asian wrestling stuff is through Ho Ho as well. I was literally a fan at an HKWF show, and then Jason Lee actually reached out to me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I know you design clothes, and you're a big fan. Could you design me some gear?" And then I got in touch with him. I got in touch with Ho Ho.
That's how you got in touch with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. All of you guys, everyone who I spoke to about UWA is all because of like a chance meeting with Ho Ho Lun. Like, it's crazy. The man is literally the godfather of pro wrestling around here.
Yeah, well, he's very much the spider of the web, isn't he?
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, so he has obviously traveled the world, wrestled in the UK, all over Asia. You've been wrestling mainly in China, but have you've been to Thailand? Did you do the Nepal show as well?
How many places? Oh, Nepal I did. Nepal was brilliant, man. That's where my acting Prime Minister. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I was wrestling one of their heroes, this young Nepalese kid who's really good, and I was the MKW champion, so I was defending the belt.
Right.
And I remember the Nepalese guy said to me before we went out, his name was David, he said, "I'm a bit worried." I said, "Why?" He says, "I think the fans are going to like you." I'm like, "Why is that?" He says, "Oh, they like the big guys." And I said, "Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry."
Yeah, they'll hate you soon enough.
Oh, yeah, me, and I had Chairman Al as my manager. And I mean, he looks the part. I mean, he puts more effort into his gimmick and character and his attire more than wrestlers I've met.
Yeah.
He looks $1 million. He does. When he comes out, he's got the suit. So he looks like a manager.
He does. Absolutely. That's what. So actually,
we had him come out. And people, it didn't take long. You know, we go to traditional heel tactics. The book 101 of how to be heels and stuff. I distract the ref, he's choking him. Next thing you know, a chair gets thrown at us, aiming at Alan. The fans are throwing chairs. And
at the chairman.
At the chairman. The next thing you know, you can see the video of a motorcycle helmet's getting thrown. It doesn't reach us, but you can see it on the camera getting thrown. And then bottles of water getting thrown. And I think I probably made a bit of mistake at the end of the match. Because I tombstoned the guy. Now, my stable faction member, Uncle Money, came out and we did a 2-on-1. The crowd are hating us, booing us. Yeah, we're called all sorts of names in their language. And I tombstone the guy and I do the cocky pin on top. And it's like 1, 2. You know, the referee's taking a bump, so his counts are slow 3. And in Nepal, they put the red dot on their head for their connection to God.
Right.
Well, I wiped it off his head and put it on me. And I think that was so I was playing to the heel character and all the place erupted. And I remember going out there, like they say, Nepal, whatever you do, don't touch people, the women. And when I was leading out, they had this beautiful ring announcer, real good looking girl. So I grabbed her on the arm and started dragging her, and the fans are going to erupt bottles. I mean, there were foreigners in the crowd sitting like this at me, like,
not cool, Big Sam.
They're like the type of hippie guys who got locked in for Nepal. You know,
yeah.
And then me coming in as like this big British barbarian taking over. I'm leaving, and they're going absolutely nuts. So much so, we went in the locker room, and I'm getting changed, and I'm with Uncle Money, and we're in the other half of the locker room, and this person comes and says, "You want to see this?" What? And I popped my head around the corner, and the opponent I wrestled is standing there with his mum screaming in tears, holding him, hugging him, and his father there. And I looked at Trey, I said, "Uncle Money," I said, "Oh dear, man." I said, "I think we're about to cause a riot." And he's like, "What?" I said, "I've got to say something." So, we go over there, and the mum looks at me with daggers, man, daggers for eyes.
Really?
And everyone said to me afterwards, "So Sam, that was the best heel work I've ever seen because you turned the entire crowd and possibly the population of Nepal against you."
Yeah. Hey, man, that's it. That's what you want, though.
Then they added me on Facebook, and then they found out my mum, and they started messaging my mum, telling my mum what a bad boy I was and stuff.
Really?
Well, Sunday's not very good, that type of thing.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So my mum's like wondering why she's getting all these requests from people in Nepal. You know,
Yeah,
so,
why
what have
are
you
all
done?
these
What have you done?
people
What have
shouting
you
at
done in
me?
that country? What have you
That
done?
is amazing.
International incident.
That's awesome, though.
Oh,
That's the kind
now,
of heat you want, though.
now other places have wrestled. Japan.
Who did you wrestle for in Japan? Was it
I
0-1?
No,
No.
no, it's a partnership MKW has. Pro Wrestling Alive, PWA.
Okay.
Okay, this is where mostly when you've seen Japanese wrestlers in MKW, they come through this channel.
Right.
And I wrestled Honwan, a Chinese wrestler in
Yeah.
Japan. Yeah.
Is he the selfie king?
Yep.
Yeah. I know him. So, okay. So speaking of all these
South
Asian
Korea
places,
as well. South Korea.
yeah, PWS, right?
Yep. Yep. You're right. Yep. Japan, PWA.
Thailand.
Thailand. Yeah, that was with MKW. We wrestled the week the king died.
Ooh,
Yeah.
savage.
So it was.
Surprised you're allowed to.
Well, I don't think we're supposed to be honest. But we
You're
we
lucky Bangkok
did
Hilton
have
then.
many fans who turned up for that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. It was like a week of mourning, and there it is, live pro wrestling. Come and see it right now. You know?
Just you beating the shit out of some tiny Thai guy.
Oh no, we took on Indians, 2 Indian guys. Me and
really?
a Chinese guy. Yeah, me and Black Mamba teamed up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So okay, so actually going back to MKW, how did you get involved with MKW? Because you were the MKW champion for over a year, right?
Yeah, I had a bit of a run with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you
how
had
did
a serious run
MKW
with
came
it.
out? 2015. I just had surgery. First surgery. I tore my pec muscle, so I had that reattached. So I'm in recovery. So I'm walking around with a sling on. The slam best.
Was it a wrestling injury or?
No, I was bench pressing, getting a bit too cocky. It was an
yeah.
ego press of 200 kg, 400 odd pounds, and it ripped me to pieces. Yeah. Lesson learned. So anyway,
Yeah.
the slam messaged me and he says, "Do you know this person?" And then Adrian, I was like, "I've never met Adrian." And I think he wanted me to talk to him, find out a bit more because Slam doesn't know English that well.
Yeah.
So, and wanted to find if this guy was legit or something along those lines. Just wanted a little bit more. So I started speaking to Adrian. It wasn't like an investigation chat. I was more curiosity that a foreigner wanted to start a wrestling promotion in China. And I said to the guy, Adrian, explained my situation. I was injured in that. I said, but you can put me in a bodyguard role. I want to be involved in wrestling. And I mean, I'm interested in this new project, but I want to be involved. And so he paired me up with a smaller Chinese guy to be like the muscle, the bodyguard. And when I was able to be wrestle again, that's when I started getting booked with MKW.
Who were you the bodyguard for?
Black Mamba.
Oh, really? Oh, it was Black Mamba. That's awesome. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So you were basically Diesel, the modern day Diesel.
Diesel, Sid to Shawn Michaels type character. That's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I assume you were a heel.
I'm always a heel.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What is it like being? What are you? 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, around that. I'm on the higher end of 6'4", lower end of 6'5".
Yeah, so you're a massive white dude who literally just power bombs and body slams the shit out of all these little Asian guys. Like, as I said with UWA when we've talked about it, I mean, I don't see how you're not just squashing everybody. So how is it like? How do you get treated by the locker room and stuff? Do they know when you come into the locker room, I'm gonna get my ass kicked in 5 minutes here?
That's probably an interesting one, but some of the guys like Voodoo, who you know, Greg.
Yeah.
He jokingly says I'm the locker room leader.
Yeah.
Whatever Big Sam says goes type of mentality. If I want to change the card, it'd be me who speaks to managers, speak to the management and be like, no, this match is going to be terrible. Swap this guy or do this, do that.
Okay.
I don't think I am. I'm just probably more vocal than the others.
Right.
Yeah.
But is that because you're Big Sam or because you just have the brain that you want to be more involved in booking and stuff like that?
No, I'm just more vocal.
Yeah.
I used to be a bouncer back in the UK and that, so I don't mind a confrontation about something like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, most people are pretty genuine, and we don't have confrontations.
Have you ever had like beef in the locker room when you just come in and like because
Well,
I
if
mean
any of the
basically
guys are
like you went
listening
into
to this,
MKW,
if
you
you
became
got beef
MKW
with me,
champion
none
for a
of them
year.
have come to me with it. None of
Yeah,
them have come.
yeah,
If they
yeah,
got
yeah.
it, none
You
of
just
them
hear
have come.
about it.
No. No, no, I don't think I've. I think there might
To
have
be
been.
honest, everyone I've spoken to, I've never heard a bad thing about you, which
Well, you're
also
Brit as
baffles me
well, aren't
because
you?
if I was getting squashed every week by a giant white guy in China, I'd probably have something to say, but I can't imagine anyone saying it to you.
Yeah, but we get squashed in a nice way.
Yeah,
And to be honest, I mean,
mate, it's true.
the matches are going to be shorter. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I mean, all
yeah,
you're
exactly.
doing,
They're still getting paid for 2 minutes work.
and all I'm doing is I'm giving them a lesson in bumping.
Yeah, oh, mate, some of your matches when you send me even on WeChat and then the video is only 10, 15 seconds or whatever. Holy shit. Some of these dudes are bouncing around and you just think, "Oh my God, that guy's definitely dead." And when you pin them and they just literally folded in half and you just have like one arm over them, you're just like, "Oh my God, that guy's dead for sure."
I mean, I'm thankful for them that they trust me that much. I mean, sometimes there has been the odd drop on the back of the neck and stuff, but it's not ballet. I mean,
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me when Kane first debuted and was just plowing through. You know, there was one night he came out and just destroyed the Hardy Boys before they were still in their like tartan old shit when they were just almost jobbers, and he just came out and just absolutely destroyed them. And I can't remember what match I was watching of yours. It might have been against DC Chen, or it might have even been the Selfie King or something. But it was literally just like, holy shit, this dude is
when
an
I'm
absolute
squashing
beast.
some of these guys, I give them something as well. Now you mentioned DC. No, you mentioned DC Chen. That was funny enough. DC Chen had been working against a couple of big guys, and he was getting crushed without giving too much.
Right.
And an observation by some of the wrestlers, funny enough, Ash brought this up. He said, "You got him over with one spot." He said, "Did you come up with that spot?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "You got him over, and he didn't have to do anything. He didn't take a bump or anything, and you didn't have to do anything. It was just your reaction." And what it was, me and my manager, Lady Marie, I would hang the wrestler on the ropes, choke him, distract the ref, and Marie would slap him.
Yeah.
And I came up with the idea. I said, in this case, when Marie goes for the slap, you grab the hand, pull her in, and kiss her.
Nice.
Nice.
You
know, and then I act super jealous, aggressive, and I pick him up in the military press.
Yeah, and start losing
drop
your mind.
him, and then I go absolutely nuts and go into like 3 big moves, and it's the finish. And then at the end, Marie will just stand over his wounded body, pick him up, and then slap him.
Yeah. Nice.
And we did that, and Ash and a couple of others complimented, said that was really cool. That really played his character, being like this cheeky, energetic Chinese wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, I think it works a treat. I think you, and also, well, we'll carry on. I know we started with the stable, and you mentioned how it came about and stuff. But how did Chairman Al and Marie get added to the group and the gimmick?
Alan was.
How do you think that they've
Alan
helped?
was the original guy. Alan was one of the originals.
And then how did Marie get joined in with you guys?
I'm just trying to think about that now. Marie,
because the stuff you, especially during the pandemic and stuff, when Al hasn't been able to get to the shows and stuff, I know he's done some cool links, especially in the last show with the Belt and Road belt and stuff. But Marie, I find when I watch you and Marie, I think Nick Aldis and Camille in the NWA.
Yes, yeah.
And that is exactly how I see you guys, and I'm just
my mate said he sees us as Shane Douglas and Francine from ECW.
But I see that as well. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally see Aldis and Camille.
I was seeing
Camille, Camille never talked, right? And now Marie talks now, and she runs her mouth and stuff. But I love it. And then she kisses your bicep in the entrance and shit. Like, man.
The entrance is. Oh, people have praised me. They're like, "You lucky sod." You
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
Like,
great.
I get
She's
Alan
also
telling.
a smoking hot chick who's walking out with you as well. Yeah.
Well, at the last show 2 days ago, one of the wrestling fans shouted at me. I didn't know this fan. He was a foreigner, but he must be watching the videos of MKW.
Right.
And it says, "I came here to see your Russian wife. Where is she?" Because Marie couldn't unfortunately come to the last show that we were on, yeah. And so, like, she's got a following. She does,
and I think she brings so much. What I love about the stable is It's kind of like the old school Heenan family or Dangerous Alliance, whereas you
Boom,
are
you
all
got
a
that
group.
one, the Dangerous Alliance. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's like you guys are a group, but you're not always together, and like you don't all come down to the ring for everyone's match. Like you'll be with Camille sometime. Sorry, no, I'm just
Marie.
thinking.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
be with Marie, or Chairman Al, or you and Trey will be tagging, or Ash and Trey will be tagging. It's never. It doesn't have to be all of you all the time, but people know like, oh, it's Big Sam, and he's representing the stable with Marie.
Well, during the COVID, it was only me and Marie in the country.
Yeah, well, yeah, that definitely
So
helped.
that's why we
Trey got
changed
stuck in
our
the States
dynamic.
for how long? Jesus, he was there for like almost, what, 6, 7 months or something?
Yeah, you had my new wrestling gear. Because I mean, I was like a sausage in that old wrestling gear. I mean, when I look at the
Oh, the
MKW
little
Blast,
blue tight.
not the blue ones, the black ones as well. The really with the barbed wire on. God, I was like a
That's right.
sausage.
Yeah.
I couldn't move about in them. I mean, I was scared to do a squat. I mean, no, luckily
We'll
I
see
got
little
this.
stamp pop out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, them would have to be X-rated. I'd have to have that censored. No, but because me and Marie were the only two from the stable who were in mainland China. That's why we changed the dynamic of our relationship, like our on-screen personalities. We became kind of like a couple.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it's worked. It has worked hardcore. Like, does she come? I know she's always in MKW with you. Does she go to KOPW shows and stuff like that as well?
No,
No, it's just
I
MKW.
would like her to, but she's an extra flight. She's an extra mouth to feed, an extra bed. Some promotions, and also how to say it. I mean, you got to protect her as well, and how, because if a promotion takes over, they also want things done their way. Like, and sometimes in one promotion, I'm the big strong heel that I'm like Vader. You know, no one can touch me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in other promotions, I'm helping push the smaller guy get over with a David and Goliath type of relationship.
Right.
So my style kind of changes in whatever promotion I'm in.
Yeah, and I guess sometimes she doesn't necessarily match what they need, right?
Yeah, but again, I'm sure they'd have her, but
Yeah.
but everything's cost effective.
Yeah, no, as far as I'm concerned, without her, the stable is lesser. I think she's a huge, especially to your gimmick. The kissing the bicep thing alone is worth flight.
Funny enough, yeah, oh God, yeah. Alan tells me, he said, because I always send the videos of our matches and I get the feedback from some of the other guys, you know, what did you like? What didn't you like? What should I change? And Alan, you know, he's praises and he says, your entrance is probably my favorite thing of that show. You know, he'll say that. He says,
oh, mate.
I can watch that actress coming down all the time. You winking at the camera and she swings around and kisses it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also you see, like, especially in the front row, when you go to raise a hand and like, you know, I mean, I know as the promoter and you know as talent that you're not going to smack a fan, but these people fully shit themselves. Because they're sitting in their little plastic chair, like, oh, fuck you, Big Sam, or whatever. Oh, deal Guilo. And then you just go like, oh, and they're like, oh.
I mean, at the last show, I feel you got to. I read the audience a lot. This is something that a lot of our Chinese wrestlers need to start doing. They'll go at 90 miles an hour and not read the audience, how the audience is reacting or anything.
Yeah.
For example, I did a tag team match and me and Trey get knocked out, or me and Uncle Money get knocked out the ring. And my opponent is Mad Dog Connor, and in this corner, some of his friends are there, and they're all wearing Mad Dog baseball caps and T-shirts. They've invested in him, you know. He's got some supporters there, so they become my target straight away. That's who my focus is. When I'm doing heat on Connor, I'm looking at his guys.
Yeah.
So what I did,
right? That's just smart wrestling.
So I snatched the baseball cap off one of his friends. You know, I roll out the ring, sell, take the cap, so he couldn't stop me from doing it.
Yeah.
Then I walk round, showing everybody I've got the baseball cap. Shove it down the front of my pants near my groin.
That's the video you sent me. Yeah, I was loving that. That
pull it out. Sick. I pull it out, and you know, there's a couple of Chinese people now. They had shouted "Big Sam, you suck" earlier in the night on our entrance. So I put it on their head, and I mean, the camera's picked up, and everybody has seen where I've put the cap. You know, it gets that type of reaction. Yeah, it gets that type of reaction.
It does, and it works though. But that's again,
and
I think that's one of the
slowed down the match because we got a new guy, one of the other opponent, Mike Dog Connor's tag team partner. He hasn't got many matches under him, and the people panic when it's live. You can go through training and do a body slam 300 times perfectly, then they'll go live and They get it,
Shit the bed.
it's overwhelming, and they drop you on the back of your head, or they can't even do the simplest moves. Timing's all over the place. And so when I go out and I do my little breather, when I can have a rest and shout at the crowd, I also hope it gives them time to think, right, what's next?
Regroup.
Yeah.
So are you the one in the ring calling the spots most of the time?
I am confident enough to say at the moment, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense for sure as well, right? I mean, you're the big dog, you're the one throwing everyone around the ring.
Yeah, but there's also a couple of guys who got a bit more experience who I listen and learn from as well, like Zombie Dragon and Buffer. Yeah,
those guys I would love to have on here also. Zombie Dragon, the gimmick, I think, is insane. It's I want to say almost like The Fiend, but it was before Bray Wyatt turned into The Fiend. And I remember a Hong Kong show, he was fighting, it might have been when you came out, but you weren't allowed to wrestle, you just came out.
The visa situation, where if I get in the ring, it'll be a problem.
Get in the ring, you're in trouble or whatever, yeah.
Wasn't he? I think he did.
He's fighting Tajiri.
What?
It was because when you cut the UWA promo.
No, he teamed up with Tajiri.
That's right.
Because he wrestled Buffer and Bitman.
That's right. Yeah, he teamed up with Tajiri, and then he had his red mist, and then Tajiri had his green mist. Yeah. That was a sick. Yeah, your visa thing. That was. I remember that.
Only Ash and Chairman Al were allowed in the ring. Me and Trey wandered out on the outside. And I think it was you who was so disappointed. You wanted me to go in there and murder the Mambros, was it?
Absolutely. That was it. I wanted
you
to
said,
do a
when you did that, you said to me, I remember you said, man, I wanted you to powerbomb those two. Just destroy them.
Absolutely. I wanted you to walk in and full on Vader /Sid /Kane, just absolutely destroy the Man Bros. You and Trey.
That's all me and Trey ever want to do, is just come in and just slaughter Road Warrior style.
Yeah, literally. And I was just like, it's dumb. Because people in Hong Kong don't see a 6'5" white guy and a fucking 6'4" black guy just walking in, just destroy people and leave. Like, and I was just like, Ho-Ho. I even said to Ho-Ho, this would be the coolest fucking thing in the world if they just come in and destroy it. Especially because then I wanted to have you guys wearing UWA shirts as well. I was like, Ho-Ho, this is how we kick off UWA. We started with you guys just coming in. I'm the asshole owner. Ho-Ho's the good guy, godfather of wrestling. Boom. We have HKWF versus UWA automatically. Boom. And then just, oh no, Sam and Trey aren't allowed in the ring because of visas. Oh, fuck's sake.
Tell me, when they were telling me about it, I said, is it worth me bloody coming?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I came over and there was a typhoon. I mean, I couldn't take the ferry.
Typhoon 8.
I went across that new bridge from Zhuhai to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Sitting at 30 kilometers an hour on a bus. I mean, I could have walked quicker.
Okay, and then last question. What's your end game in wrestling? Do you want it to be, because you still have a job as well and you wrestle, is the aim to be full-time wrestler, WWE, or would you prefer like New Japan, UWA style? Let's just throw myself out there.
I'm 36 years old, man. I am just carrying on with this. I've been lucky with what I've found out here in Asia. I really am, wrestling-wise. Yeah, I didn't think I'd find it. When I left the UK, I thought pro wrestling was kind of done for me in that respect. I've given it a go. I've said I can always tell people, well, I had a go at pro wrestling when I was in my 20s or whatever. And now here I am on my second championship for another promotion in China. And I mean, I'm talking to you now on a podcast about wrestling, and we're talking about the future with it. We're not just talking about what I've done in the past, talking about the future of UWA and that. This is just a really great ride I'm on. It really is. And I always joke with people, like, I don't talk about wrestling too much. Yeah, my friend's like, you don't talk about it with us. Why? And I said, I don't want to jinx it. When people say, hey, Sam, I see you on your WeChat, you were wrestling in Shenzhen, Harbin, Guangzhou a couple of years ago, Nepal, and you're all over the place with this wrestling. You must really do well out of it. And I want to be like, oh man, I'm having a great time. I'm doing it really well. They think I'm a big success around here, like with the wrestling.
Yeah.
They really do. Like the local expat communities, like Big Sam the wrestler, you don't mess with him. travels
But
around China.
you are around here. You are a big deal. Like we talk about Ho Ho as the godfather of wrestling and stuff, but it's because he's the Chinese guy who started it. But in terms of foreigners or gaijins, as the Japanese would say, or guilos, as we would say, you're literally the big dog. You're Big Sam. You are the one.
Yeah. They jokingly say him like Stan Hansen of like old Japan wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you're like.
Well, it's longevity I've had out here, and I just got to know the different promotions.
There is no one like you around Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Southeast Asia, basically. Everyone...
And I think that's where I'm blessed in my bookings as well, is because there's nobody like that. I mean, I'll have to keep fighting off any big white guys who come into the area.
Yeah.
I mean, start stepping on my toes, I'll have to fight them off.
Hey, but again, all I see if another big white guy comes in is fucking money. Because literally, you're the. That's why it baffles me sometimes if you don't get booked as the most dominant heel around. Some of these Chinese, like if there's Chinese kids, I mean maybe not in the Hong Kong shows we watch because everyone's drunk and whatever, but if you have kids at shows and you walk past, those kids are like they were back in the day with Andre. They're like.
It's not just the kids.
It's
not just the kids. I found my mark. It was mostly middle-aged women, middle-aged Chinese women. They all want a picture. Oh, can I touch your arm? You know.
Yeah. Can I kiss the bicep? That's it.
Oh, need some gal, need some da. You know, they're all like really nice. Need some shrine, need some da, need some gal. You know, and I'm like the sitting sweaty guy in a pair of like bin bag looking trunks. I mean, like make a wish Chippendale, you know.
Mate, there's still money to be made in that.
Hey, but, I do well with the merch out here, actually. Really do well.
Yeah, I totally believe that. Even I told you, I've got a stable shirt.
A lot of things I see with a lot of wrestlers who come out here, they don't talk about the fans from the Chinese side. I have huge support from the Chinese wrestlers. They've received me well. Even when I cut promos that are kind of like anti-China, and then, very heelish moving on that. I mean, there was a promo I did where I said, I don't care about Chinese New Year. The only holiday that ever matters is Christmas. You know, everything else sucks, like stuff like that. They're smart enough to get that. That's the character.
Yeah, well, literally.
But what's the way to say it? I'm a guy they love to hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they meet me after the show, they turn up in a stable t-shirt, but they were booing me like about an hour ago.
Yeah. Well, it's like the old school NWO. That's when you know you've done well. The NWO were the biggest assholes ever, but every fucker had an NWO shirt.
I think deep down everybody wants to be an asshole sometimes, don't they?
Well, exactly. And if you've got some massive white guy actually just telling you that you're an asshole, then boom.
We get well received.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Chinese crowd, they bring me signs they've done for me and stuff. They'll send me, they'll add me on WeChat. They'll find a way to find me through like the wrestling groups and that. And they'll send videos they've done of me and stuff. It's pretty touching, actually. And they spend money as well. Like, they really do. They really invest. I mean, some will message me and be like, I'm coming to Guangzhou. Good luck, Big Sam. I hope you powerbomb this opponent through a chair. You know, like stuff like that. Yeah. And I did one match and I didn't do a powerbomb. And so like express his disappointment in me. I really came a long way to watch you wrestle.
Watch you powerbomb.
I did not, and you did not do a powerbomb. I am quite upset. You know, like this. I'm like, oh, sorry, mate.
On Google Translate, that's amazing. But what's also cool is that you speak fluent Mandarin.
No, I won't go fluent, but I got enough.
But you can read and write. You can text and stuff in Mandarin,
to
right?
To a certain level, yeah. If you came up for a steak, well, I can get you steak, egg, and chips, mate. I'll get you steak how you want it cooked. Yeah. I'll get you 2 sugars. I'll get you 2 sugars in your tea. I'll ask them if they got a Guinness back. You know, I'll ask them if they got a Guinness in the back. But yeah, I can get around. Let's put it that way.
So, are you happy in the position you're in, or would you, if WWE came calling, but they said you need to change this, and this. You're not going to be Big Sam. You're going to be, I don't know, fucking
Medium
Festus. Sam. You're going to be Festus. If they gave you a shitty gimmick where over here, Let's think of Matt Bloom is a good example.
If WWE asked me to do absolutely anything, I probably would do it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your childhood. I mean, no matter what, I can go back and your friends say, "Oh, you're in WWE. Didn't like your gimmick." But yeah, I was in the WWE.
But you were there, right?
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, some people have said stuff about some of the other guys who I've known who went to WWE. Like Ho-Ho, I mean, he left there and stuff, and they're like,
yeah,
he didn't get too much of a push there. He was stuck on NXT. I said, he still worked for WWE. He's got that under his belt.
Also,
I mean,
he chose to leave.
Yeah. But he was in the training center. He's got that experience behind him. I mean, that's valuable. I mean, you could say WWE, and not even the biggest wrestling fan's going to know who WWE is.
Yeah. What about okay, so. We'll go last question because I know I'm keeping you for a while now. Would you go AEW or WWE at the minute?
Go for the big one, WWE.
Yeah. Just take it just for the name recognition and everything.
Because AEW is collecting all the WWE guys who leave. So.
Well, exactly, right? It's TNA 2.0.
WWE's not collecting AEW. AEW collects WWE. Yeah. But
that's true.
WWE, it's got longevity behind it. It's got a history. And yeah, you might not like the product. I'll be honest, I don't watch WWE that much. And my friend Cam told me to keep an eye on Cesaro and Reigns, and I watched that and I enjoyed that. I mean, Cesaro's my guy. I really like his style. I've watched him for quite a few years, actually, before he came to WWE.
Yeah.
But I started trying
what was he? Anthony Castanelli or whatever in Ring of Honor and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, we had the wrestling channel, didn't we, back in the UK for a bit?
Yes. Oh my God! Finally, someone who fucking remembers that. And they had that something
that
to wrestle with,
like
Wrestle Talk or whatever. That weird conversation where they had the TV in front of them and they just sat on the sofa and chatted shit.
Correct. Now that was like my door to stuff like Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, CZW.
Oh my God. Me
and
too.
a lot of Japanese wrestling in that. Now, when I speak to some of my wrestling friends here, they've watched wrestling for. Yeah, they know absolutely. They go to all the indie shows, the hardcore shows, and that.
Yeah.
So, and they say, "How do you know this wrestler, Sam?" And I'll be like, "Oh, we have the wrestling channel, really."
Wrestle Talk TV.
Yeah, Wrestle Talk TV, and what they used to have the LDM wrestling or something, London wrestling.
Yeah.
Alex Shane.
Weird stuff like Lucha Britannia. I've seen some weird UK indie stuff. On there. But that's literally the wrestling channel.
That was my first introduction to the guy. And then he teamed up with Chris Hero and became Kings of Wrestling.
Yes.
And then they went to Japan. Hero
became also, who is he now? Chris Ono. No, Cassius Ono.
He's left now. He's quit or left or whatever. He got made redundant.
Yeah. He got cut.
Yeah. But yeah, so to answer your question, Reggie, WWE.
Yeah.
yeah. WWE then AEW. AEW, don't get me wrong, I probably watch more of their product than WWE at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's easier for me to absorb like 2 hours a week of wrestling.
Yeah. I totally agree.
And I mean, I've got my TV series to follow up on and watch.
Yeah,
so exactly. I don't have too much time, and when it comes to wrestling now, if I ever do watch wrestling, it's a lot of the old stuff that I grew up with and loved.
When you said the new generation stuff before, that's all I'm watching these days. Is I could tell you more about what happened between like 95 and 97 than anything that happened this year.
Yeah, exactly the same for me, man. I got a passion for tag team wrestling. I'm probably the only one on the roster who does. And they're like, what's your favorite tag team match? And when I look back, like you mentioned above, what match? Another match I could add to my list if I was stuck on a desert island I could watch. It's Shawn Michaels and Diesel versus Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid.
Was that from Raw, or was that one of the random paper, like In Your House or something?
It was for the tag team titles, and Shawn Michaels and Diesel were the heels. So it must be 94, I'm guessing.
94, 95, yeah.
And I tell you, it's when Shawn Michaels, Diesel, put the super kick over in that match.
Yes! Because one Razor ducks and he kicks him, right? And then that's what breaks up Shawn and Diesel.
Not yet. No, that was in the Survivor Series.
But that's right, yeah.
Super kicks
Diesel. I know the match.
And Shawn is wrestling Razor 1-2-3 Kid by himself. It's a 2-on-1, and Shawn's the heel as the one. and he's out working them, and every break he gets, he takes down 1-2-3 Kid. He starts trying to bring Diesel back to life, like wake up, wake up, wake up. And then in the end, Diesel finally wakes up and gets the boot in on 1-2-3 Kid and Sean pins. It's brilliant match. I mean, they're friends. Like I talked about, I like working with Ash. We're friends, and so you're comfortable to go further, and it's hard to say. It's just. And when you grew up with the same wrestling, the ideas just float together and it works. Like I talk a lot of wrestling with Bufo, and me and Bufo, you talk about new wrestling. The conversation probably lasts a few minutes. You talk about what we grew up with. We could talk on that. We know the day that they did this match. We know the pay-per-view. We know where it was on the card. You ask us now who's the tag team champions or the women's champion. I mean, I wouldn't put money on myself to get it right. Yeah.
No, the only modern day wrestling I've watched is I was an old school fan of The Miz, because I was also one of those. I used to love Jackass and Dirty Sanchez and that stuff. So I was a big MTV reality show fan. So when The Miz became a wrestler, I was like, hell yeah, love this guy. But he got so much shit for being the reality show kid, and the way he basically handled himself, getting kicked out of the locker room for spilling chicken on Benoit's bag and all that shit. And then the way he is now, 2-time WWE champ, 2-time Grand Slam champion, 8-time Intercontinental champion, like has his own show on E. Like the guy is an absolute legend. And I just think good for him.
Sometimes when we do the road trips and I'm driving, me and Ash would have a conversation. If you had a promotion and you had to pick 10 wrestlers, currently, who would you have, and who would you push, who would you do? And I picked The Miz, and he's like, why? And I'm like, because he's a guaranteed heel. He'll go out there, and he's someone to get hated. And I mean, he's a good heel. He doesn't have to be your top guy, but he'll get your younger guys over, the newer guys. Exactly. He's just good, yeah. So I used to have The Miz as a ringtone, God, several years ago, where I came to Plagued, and awesome. That was it.
Exactly.
That was the
when he came out for WrestleMania and he had the awesome and the giant blown up inflatables with Alex Riley when he was the champ against. Also, the fact that he main evented against Cena is unreal, and no one even gave a shit. But that was oh god. Anyway, bud, I've kept you for an hour and a half. I will let you go. I think we could just chat shit for another 2 hours if we really want.
Yeah. I think we're going to bore people. You might want to edit this and cut some stuff.
But thank you so much for coming on. It's awesome.
Thank you for having me. I mean, this hour and a half's gone like that.
I know. And hopefully once the borders open up again, we can go and have a few more beers down in the plaza.
down in the bay, down in Disco Bay.
In Discovery Bay. Disco Bay. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome. And
thank you for having me.
Well done on all your success. The KOPW
There it is. I'll get it in on the last shot.
There we go. And hopefully one day soon we'll have you competing for this bad boy. Yeah, exactly.
If he's please, up there, please. Please.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you so much, dude. It's been awesome chatting to you. And hopefully talk to you again soon. Good luck with everything. And we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, man. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.